It says I'm live, which means that we're going to get started here. So today we're probably going to do a bit of a thrown together mix of a lot of stuff. I've got some things here I need to do longer, which you probably can't read because it's relatively small on the stream. But we need to re-add in the revenge attack system because at the moment, I'll just show you actually. At the moment, it is just a little too easy to like juggle enemies. Also, there's a issue with the slow-mo, which I'll fix in a moment, but it's just a little too easy to juggle these enemies. So these enemies need a value that just like continuously counts up every time you hit them. And then when you haven't hit them for like 5 seconds or so, it resets. But when that value reaches a certain threshold, they will do a special attack which will make them invincible and make sure that the player has to dodge out of the way and can't just keep juggling enemies. We need to re-add that. We need to do the entire, well, not the entire AI, but we need to do a fair bit of the AI for this dude, which also involves night special teleport attack, which will add into the enemy category here. So we need to do that. Now for the player, we don't need to do anything at the moment. We do have a weird bug where sometimes if I'm trying to attack a character that no longer exists, my player freaks the fuck out. Probably not going to look at that today because I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen because it's only happened once. So if it doesn't happen again, I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen and hope that it was a editor only bug. But we do have the player impact resetting slow-mo issue where it doesn't actually reset the slow-mo. So those are all the things that are currently plaguing my game, which we'll have to fix. And let's start by the most annoying one of them all, because everything else here relies on the fact that the combat actually like works, which it doesn't at the moment because the player gets stuck in slow-mo mode. So we'll fix that one first, and for that we need to go into my sword attack base ability, and instead of, so what we do here at some point when I hit the enemy, which is this event that happens right here, I set a custom time dilation for both the player character and the thing that I just hit. But at the moment what happens then is at the very end here, it does a 0.5 second delay, which is about a frame or like 2-3 for like reasonable frame rates, and then it sets it back to 1. The only issue is if the gameplay ability ends, which it does when the animation ends or starts blending out rather, before this 0.05 seconds runs out, this code is never run, meaning that it gets stuck in the slow-mo mode, which isn't great. So we're going to be replacing this with a simple bit of C++ code, which shouldn't be too difficult to do altogether. So I have, that's a auto hotkey script. That's not what I wanted to open up. Hold on. Somewhere in here, surely we have Open Visual Studio. Okay, there we go. So, welcome everybody to my rambling for the next, I don't know, 2 hours or so. Hopefully, it's at least passingly entertaining. So, let's make a... How are we going to do this, right? Because realistically we need the exact same code on both of these things, so like do we need to make that into like a component, but that is needlessly clunky. Well, maybe it's not actually. I'm just going to put the code on both of these classes and be done with it, because it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I probably should have made just like a custom character class which both of these things inherit from, which I can still theoretically speaking do. And maybe I should, but I won't. So in here, we'll make a public function, which will make a U function, which is blueprint callable, and that's simply just void set can open save menu. No GitHub. That's not what I want to do at all. Reset time dilation. That is exactly what I want to do. And let's pass in a float for time until resets. And then we have a non-U function, just a normal void set time dilation, float time dilation. It's just as easy as that, people. So let's make a definition for both of these, which can take a minute because VS Code can be slow as all hell. There we go. That's the first one. Where's my header file? Where did my header file go? There it is. I don't like how you you should be able to just like couple these together so they're always next to each other. That's just a little pet peeve of mine. Maybe you can, and I just don't know how. So reset time dilation, that makes a F timer handle. That's timer data. I need a timer handle for the timer. Then we do all that. And we check timer, this, set time dilation. Fucking love AI, dude. I fucking love it. That's all that needs to do. And this sets custom time dilation to time dilation. It's just as easy as that, people. Again, it's kind of ridiculous how easy that makes things. Let's see, we don't need any of these other classes. If I do end up needing them, I'll just reopen them, but I just want only the things I'm working on open at the moment. So let's just simply copy over this into the enemy header file, which we'll put in the public section here. Technically speaking, this should be in the private section, but I don't care. So we're just going to ignore that. And yes, you shouldn't have the same code in two places. I know. But again, I just don't give a fuck because this is just that simple. So we're just going to do it like this and pretend like this isn't a very sloppy way of doing things. This is not even just IntelliSense. This is GitHub Copilot, which is much better than just simple IntelliSense. But IntelliSense itself is great, albeit a little bit slow in this use case. Fuck. Okay, let's see. What is the issue? Oh, then okay. No, I know what the issue is. There needs to be a, instead of doing this, we need to have a F timer delegate, and we need to do that. But then it does need to be a U function, so fuck me, I guess. Does it come up with that? No. U function doesn't need to be blueprint callable or anything. You can just copy this over to the enemy header file as well. And we can copy this over as well. And this is exactly the reason why you don't put the same code in two places, because when you need to change it, things get a little messy. So maybe I should have made this a component. But I don't care at the moment. Let's see. And this time, no compiling errors. So now we can remove this delay node and instead say, let's see. I think we have a reference somewhere here to a third-person character. We do. So we don't actually need to use the get actor avatar thing. We can just say reset time dilation. Time until reset will be 0.05. And then here we can also say reset. No, we cannot because this is just an actor. But did we cast to the enemy before? We did. Okay, this is going to be a little messy. Reset time dilation. It's actually not that messy. We can actually deal with this relatively easily because we can just put this there. And the time dilation for the... let's just make a literal float here for that. The time dilation for the character, the player character that is, getting reset is the most important. I also do want it to reset for the enemy, obviously, but that should fix it. So far going well, because one of the major issues that I've been having, which isn't that... Wait, why? What's happening to my dashing particles? What? Oh, it's... It doesn't matter right now, we are only trying to troubleshoot something else. It's a live coding thing. Live coding has been breaking down more and more recently for me. I'm not entirely sure why. Okay, this does not seem to have fixed shit. Huh. Just to be sure, let's ulog. And recompile. So it was going very well until I actually started to test out the code that I just written. And what? Oh, hold on. This actually there we go. That's good enough. I just need to know. That probably should have been like warning for it to be seen easier. Oh well, we'll live. Let's check if it even runs that function to begin with, right? That is the thing I'm trying to fix here. Because it seems like it just doesn't run that function altogether now, which is less than ideal. I also, another thing that I forgot to add, which I'll add in a moment to the to-do list, is I need to make it so that I can't hit the same enemy twice with the same attack. Yeah, the enemies are getting the green particles. They're not invincible, they're just constantly healing. That is already fixed. There was just a weird thing where they were getting the healing effect, but it wasn't being removed from them. And then there was an issue where they were getting the healing effect, but if I killed off the lantern here, which does that to the other enemies, while the healing effect was active, it also wouldn't be getting removed. So that was a bit of a headache, but that should all be fixed now. But I don't think I have pushed the builds with those changes yet to itch. So that would be why. Okay, we want to check the output log. Don't tell me that opening up the output log is going to crash the engine, because that would be fucking idiotic. Your. I don't think it's running that function, man. Not gonna lie. I think this does make it quite difficult to. Actually, it does make it easier because if it prints anything out, it should be in white. Yeah, it's just simply not running that function. I think that's the main issue. So, let's see. Delegates dot create U object. I think that's the way we generally like to do this instead. Oh, no, I'm just an idiot. The bind U function thing will work perfectly fine. I just need to actually set the timer. So, can we please like get World Timer Manager and set that timer? That would be helpful. That, we're gonna pretend like that didn't happen, okay? But we can all be cool pretending like that didn't happen. I probably also should zoom in a little bit on the code because it's probably quite hard for you guys to read. If you even care about being able to read the code. I don't know. You probably do. Okay, let's see. Now it should be fixed. And it is. Okay. Kind of. But I think that is actually due to the double hitting. Because what it's probably... no, but I should still reset. I don't know. I'm going to assume that that's due to the double hitting. And try to fix that first now. So the way we do that would be... Yeah, so what we'll do is on the weapon, we'll add that array in... We'll need to wipe it with another class, so let's do it in public. We'll make a T array, not attack abilities, not even close. We want to make a enemy pointers for the hit enemies. It does know that I'm trying to do the hit enemies. That's kind of creepy, honestly. Well, it's on a class called weapon, so that makes sense. And then when we overlap with anything, if that thing... Let's say we need to redo this code anyway. If the target is an enemy, okay, we take our hits enemies and add the target. But then, wait a second. I need to go back into the engine real quick because I'm not entirely sure where the code is that actually executes. Is it on the sword? It is. That is not great. Can we easily do that? Send gameplay event. I'm going to have to look this up real quick. Unreal C++ send gameplay event. Yeah, that's a thing that's meant to be done through Blueprint mostly. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll... that's not great either, is it? Did you know people are people? I did not know that. That is very interesting information. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll use the current blueprint we have for the sword as the base for the other weapons as well. I think that makes most sense. So we get rid of this code. We don't need to find the actor stats component anymore because we're not doing anything with that. Is it this? No, no. Oh my god, what did I do? So there we go. We do want to stop moving immediately still on the player when we hit something. I don't know if I'm also doing that in a different place at this point, but I don't really care. Are we using the controller? I don't think we're using the controller for anything anymore. We just... Okay, that cleans up that function quite a bit. I'm still not zoomed in. Hold on, there we go. Zoomed in one more level. But I'm going to need to compile again because if we're going to do this through Blueprint, we want to Blueprint read write because we also want to be able to clear this through Blueprint. I've had people on the tutorials ask me to zoom in, so I figured maybe it's a good idea to do that in the live streams as well, because especially here the bitrate is a lot lower, so the text would be a lot less clear, I assume. Okay, so now we check get hits enemies. Is it contains? Contains item, there we go. Only when it doesn't contain the enemy do we actually damage it. And where is the enemy? That's the other actor. So... I'm sorry, what? Surely we don't need to cast this to an enemy, right? Cast to... enemy? That seems highly unlikely. Okay, but we do. Never mind. Cool. Fine. Well, actually that does make sense, because you wouldn't want to check for any... No, that does make sense. Never mind. Yeah, YouTube is real good about taking a lot of time. Real bad, rather. About taking a lot of time to answer things like emails and stuff. Do I have an end ability? I do. That is real good. Get weapon. No. Get... Yeah, no, get weapon is the thing I need. And then the... Get child actor. Which will cast to weapon. Get hit enemies. And we should be able to clear that. And that should solve the multiple hits issue, in theory. So yeah, I assume that you're going to wait a couple more days for any more information on YouTube's part, because they are just not great at... Why do I only have 0 experience suddenly? Oh, because of the live coding thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, for some reason, now I don't hit anything at all. Why is that? When it doesn't contain that enemy yet. Surely it doesn't contain that enemy, right? Surely it's failing somewhere else before? Let's see. Huh? How? No, seriously, how? Because what? How does any of that make sense? Oh, no, that does make sense, because it's getting added in C++, which probably executes before any of the blueprint code does. So at that point, we can just remove any of this as well. And now after that, we add in... You could also add unique, I suppose. Doesn't really matter. So now it should only ever hit them once. Is the idea. Which also should fix my slow-mo issue. Hopefully. Maybe. Potentially. Let's hope so. Okay. It does not fix the slow-mo issue, but it seems like at least the enemies are only getting hit once. So that's a start. You like my what? I need to restart the engine to fix this live coding stuff, because it's making it real hard to... Oh, hold on. We did see something white there, in there somewhere. Let's just hold on here. Window. Output log. Where did it go? Oh, to my other monitor. Okay, let's put that up. I don't know why the output log specifically is being so fucking laggy. This should make things a bit easier to spot now. Oh, it just has the hello print string. So it's still not running that fucking function, is it? But when the... Huh? I don't know. I set timer. We have an in-out handle, a delegate, in rate, no loop, no first delay. That's not how declaration works in CPP files. It might need to be a U function though. But I think, didn't I make it a U function? It is a U function, so that's not the issue either. I don't even know that it needs to be honest, but... Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to save this. We're going to, real quick, just to make sure we have a clean slate, rebuild from source. Live coding is still active. We're going to give it a second. Tell Unreal to go fuck itself when it crashes. And we rebuild. Nothing is better than cheese. Cheese is literally perfection. I don't know what you're on about. Cheese is the best. I don't know, I couldn't live without cheese, man. Cheese literally makes everything. Well, not everything. I was going to say it doesn't make cake better, and technically speaking, like cake with cheese would be bad, but there is such a thing as cheesecake, which isn't cake with cheese, to be fair, so my point still stands, but there is a thing called cheesecake, and it is really, really good. So, to a certain extent, I suppose maybe cheese does also make cake better. Just adding something cheese to something just makes it better. It's just how it works. Okay, let's see if we attack you one time. Am I now... Okay, if we attack you one time and I hit, am I now in slow-mo? No, I'm not. But you are. That is interesting. If I attack you like a couple of times... Now... I am in slow-mo. Why? Is it because I got hit halfway through? Let's see. So we reset the time dilation on both the enemy and the player. And that cooldown runs on those classes, not on this ability anymore. So that is not the issue. That said though, hold on, this is checking whether or not the base defense value is less than or equal to 0. And that should still reset the time dilation, if that's the case. So that might have been the issue there. I mean, cheese is a good thing to think about when you're bored. It's an even better thing to eat when you're bored. There's also something weird going on with the damage boxes, by the way. I don't know exactly what's going on there. But it seems like at least the time dilation issue on my end is fixed. Maybe 0.05 is even a little slow. For some reason, it's not very consistent in when it does and doesn't do that thing. I'm not entirely sure why. Also known as not being able to type anything properly. I would say software engineer is a bit of a exaggeration on my skill set. But I would call myself a game developer. I would call myself a not entirely incapable programmer, like no expert, but still. I'm more of an all-round kind of person. I'm just going to mark this bug as being fixed because it seems more or less fixed. That's how you deal with bugs, right? So let's do this entire room and see if we fuck up somewhere. Because we probably will. Okay, become like depressed? Just live. The world will do the rest for you. I don't know if I like the time dilation thing. Maybe it only needs to be on the player, not the enemy, because the enemy is doing like weird stuff with time dilation. Also, there's something weird going on with the damage boxes not resetting, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah, if you use Unity instead of Unreal, you will indeed become very depressed. That is entirely correct. So far, like, again, aside from the damage box on this fucker not getting reset, which I'll look into in a moment, combat seems to be working again, somewhat. That's not what you meant, but it is true. The way you become a game developer is install Unreal Engine and watch my Unreal Engine videos. And a lot of other people's videos as well. Don't just get knowledge from one source. Like, by all means, watch my shit, but also watch other people's shit. Because I don't know everything. And sometimes I say stupid shit. And it's very good to fact check anything I say against what other people say. For some reason, it seems like the only thing that is resetting its defense is maybe the... Oh, don't die! I'm dying while playtesting my own game. Is the only thing that's getting its defense reset after a few seconds the, like, big demon? Let's just leave him alone. Okay, now everything is getting its defense reset. I'm just being a paranoid idiot. Anyway, so yeah, it seems like... For the most part, this works well enough. Aside from, again, the fact that the damage boxes seem to just randomly be enabled sometimes. Nah, I don't get a college degree in games. I mean, you can, right? There are colleges that teach game design, programming, art. It's a nice place to meet like-minded people, but by and large, it's also a huge waste of money. So I don't recommend it. Like, if you need to choose what to go to college for the love of God, do something where you can actually, like, reasonably... What the fuck? Be reasonably sure that you get a job out of it, because chances of, like, going to college for... God, fuck you. Okay, so that happens sometimes. The chance that you go to college for game development or game design and you end up actually landing a job in the game development industry is reasonably low. So if you need to choose a direction to go for in college, just generally don't do anything art related. Like, that's very much something you can teach yourself, and very much something that statistically not gonna... What the actual fuck? How did that happen? What? Okay, something to keep an eye out for, I suppose. What? I mean, Brackeys is a very good source for Unity information. At least used to be. I don't know how it is now because I'm going to assume that a lot of the information is outdated at this point because it's been a while. But it's still, if you want to use Unity and you, that still bothers me that it does that. If you want to use Unity, it is a good place to get started. I mean, I didn't say you won't get a job in the field. It's just, statistically speaking, it's not a very good bet to make. Spending a lot of money on a college degree for game design in a industry where you, like, statistically speaking, most people who go into it don't, like, make it. And for a huge part, it's also like when you do make it, you don't particularly like make a lot of money. I mean, I have a film degree. I am 100% in that boat with you. Like, I spent 4 years and like a lot of money getting a film degree. And look at me now. Right? So, just saying. I mean, the fact that most old Unity tutorials still work doesn't mean that that's necessarily a good way of doing things. From what I have found from the like 6 months that I've used Unity, there's a lot of outdated information out there, which results in you relearning things like 2 or 3 times in different ways. And it's nice that the old ways are still there and don't get just entirely taken out, which will break your workflow and your code. But it's also, and this is not just a Unity thing, Unreal also does this, right? I keep going back to both engines' input systems because they both got renewed relatively around the same time, I believe. Like the old way of registering inputs for both engines still works and still there, but it's outdated information. And you're probably, if you're just getting into it, probably shouldn't learn that way because it's just not the way it's done anymore. And the old ways are in there for legacy support and not because you should be using them. I mean, if you use a third-party input system, that also works. It's just an example of if you're working with an ever-developing software, the fact that the old stuff is still there doesn't mean that you should use it necessarily. It's usually good if you're learning, you're getting, like, you're coming into a industry or some software fresh and you're learning stuff. It's usually good to learn the most up-to-date methods of doing anything. I don't know why I'm playing the entire dungeon, by the way. I only wanted to test the combat. What the fuck am I doing? Well, I suppose I needed to unlock the door for the boss fight anyway, because that's what we're going to be doing in a moment. After I save the game and I quit. Try activate ability by class in the basic projectile. Oh yeah, no, that makes sense because it's trying to activate abilities on things that don't have ability components. Probably. Oh, that's probably what ended up happening. Hold on. It's probably setting the rotation. Yeah, that's what happened. It should only set the rotation of something once we are sure that it is the third person character. And where do we have the rotation calculation? There we have it. Which this is all very messy. But that fixes the issue that we had with the door as well, because that was some wacky shit. My PC specs are a little bit all over the place. I have a, what is it, a 5950X AMD processor. I don't know the brand or model number of my RAM, but it's 128 gigabytes, and that's all that I care about. And a RTX 2060, and then just like a few SSDs and stuff. Okay, so about the damage boxes, because that is kind of an issue, right? I think the issue might be the fact that they're turned on by default. This one, box. Yeah, Unreal does tend to need higher specs for your PC. The Unreal editor is unreasonably heavy, especially on video memory specifically. Unity and things like Godot are a lot more user-friendly on lower-end hardware for the developer as well. Like, frankly, honestly, my GPU is not quite there for working with Unreal. I only have 6 gigabytes of V memory, and it's just not enough. I very often get, especially when I'm on a high scalability, they'll probably say, there we go, video memory exhausted. I've only got 6 gigs, and that's not enough. So unless you have at least like a 3060 or 3070 or something newer than that, you're going to have some pain working with Unreal. Godot is a little bit, I don't know. I do agree that Godot is a little bit shaky as far as like it's a developing engine, which can be real cool. There's upsides and downsides to using Godot versus Unity, obviously. I think Godot is really cool, but also a secondary engine to learn and not something primary, because there's no reason to believe that it will be around for like a decade. And it's kind of, if it's your primary engine that you work in all the time and it just like stops being developed, you're kind of fucked. So the box here, can we just like automatically what do I do in the function that turns it off and on? Let's check that out first, because surely that's on the enemy. No, maybe not. Destroy actor, knockback, no friction, HP bar visible. Where is my set damage box? Is that on my ground enemy class? I don't know why I split those two classes up, because it ended up not actually working out very well for me. Set attack, update damage box. So we have our damage boxes. And we get all the components, and we set the overlap events to whatever state we have them in. So we just need to set update damage box on begin play to false. Did I not do that? I didn't include that. Okay. Update damage box false. I don't know. RX 580. That has like 8 gigabytes of VRAM, doesn't it? Like that has an unreasonable amount of VRAM for the amount of that's got 8 gigabytes. That should actually be fine as far as VRAM goes. It might be a little low on like processing power for certain things. Like I probably wouldn't make a game using global illumination with that. But as far as VRAM goes, you probably actually are pretty good with 8 gigabytes. Now, 8 gigabytes seems pretty good. Like, if you have the 4 gigabyte model, I don't know if the RX 580 has a 4 gigabyte model. I know the 480 did. But I think the 580 is just straight up. Does it have a 16 gigabyte model? Oh my god, it does. Okay, so now you're just straight up good, I think. With 8 gigabytes, you're probably fine. If you have the 16 gigabyte model for some reason, you're entirely set. You're fine. Again, it's not the greatest GPU in terms of computing necessarily anymore, but that's not necessarily the bottleneck that you run into most with Unreal. Mostly Unreal's bottleneck is the usage of video memory. I'm very glad to hear that my videos are helping you make your game. How do I pronounce that? Figure? Store? I don't know. No, it only has 8. Still, I think the 8 gigabyte model is fine, because as you can see here, when I'm working on my game, and, well, you can see, like, just for reference, like, what my game is, and I've got, like, all of this shit loaded at the same time. I'm only running about 100 megabytes short, and sometimes, like, up to a gigabyte, and I have 6 gigs. So if you have 8, for the most part, you'll probably be fine. Yeah, normal RAM is. It's kind of like I don't exactly know how it works, but it's much like normal RAM is very very fast. Don't get me wrong, but it's slower than video memory, and I think in order to share like that, it needs to go over the CPU, which then adds latency to things and stuff like that. It's not ideal. So what we're gonna do next, because we have oh yeah. I remember now. We're going to check whether or not I still get randomly smacked in the face by damage boxes that shouldn't be turned on. I think also when I damage the enemy, I should turn off its damage boxes. I think that might be part of the issue as well. So can you hit me now? I don't know. You can't hit me at all now. The fuck? What the actual fuck? Also, you're in slow-mo. So yeah, now I can't be hit at all. So something's going wrong with the animation events as well. Which is too bad, because that one is actually spread out over a bunch of different animation classes, which is not fun to all update. Let's see though. We have the start attack, which is set attack. That's probably... Let's actually just check the attack animation, right? I have the attack animation. What notifications does that have? And where the fuck is that window? No, seriously, where is that window? Is it on my second monitor? Is it on my second monitor behind OBS? No, it's not. Oh, you have a store of games. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so my RAM, by the way, I do have a lot of it, but it is DDR4 still. I'm very confused as to where this window has gone. Is it... Oh, it's that... I'm an idiot. Okay, so I do have this like turn on damage box. But do I still have that function in here anywhere? Turn on damage box. Yes. And I'm just going to, for shits and giggles, do that. And we're going to check this is update damage box. Update damage box. That is the same function. Oh, you do have quite outdated hardware, so maybe GPU isn't the only bottleneck you'd run into with Unreal. I think still the major bottleneck you will run into will still be GPU, because it's not that intensive on CPU. Like, let me check real quick. How's my CPU looking? And I'm also streaming at the moment, I should point out, of course. But like, this is my CPU usage. It's kind of laughable. So I don't think that will be a big issue, but like that all of an i7 it might be kind of okay. So it does run that function, it just doesn't do shit. Wait, why does it have? Okay, that makes sense. Why it fucked up, because it was running the wrong function which didn't have any usable code in it. Yeah, the third gen i7 might be a bit of an issue with no graphics card. But you said you had a RX 580, right? Or am I mixing people up now? Is there a lesson on how to set up and do in C++? I do have, I think, like Friday, the last video in that series will go up. I do have an entire series on getting started with C++ in Unreal, which will take you through the simplest things like making a class, making blueprints of that, making like input code and that kind of stuff. All of that is on the channel. I don't think I have put them in the playlist yet. I will do that if I don't forget after the stream. But without a GPU, you're going to run into some trouble, and you definitely want to avoid Unreal if you're on very low-end hardware. So probably stick with Godot or Unity indeed. I mean, it kind of sucks that you can't do anything about it. But I fully understand if you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. It's kind of just that simple. Why are you still... Did I not compile? I'm going to compile this shit. Hold on. Add actor local rotation. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. That just still should have worked. I'm going to compile this, and I'm going to be right back because I need to use the bathroom. Okay, so did we compile? Did we fail? I guess we'll see. Let's see. Updates. Damage box. Why is it doing that? Let's go into the header file because we probably need to remove a declaration here as well. Yeah. Oh, because this one isn't blueprint callable. That's okay. That makes sense. And then we can just remove this one altogether because we are not going to be using it anymore. Oh, wait a second. No, maybe that is actually. Maybe we do want to have a version of this. I could have sworn I made something else here as well, but I don't know. You know what, actually? Since we're compiling anyway, I'm just going to go into my YouTube thing and I'm going to make that playlist right now because otherwise I will forget. Yeah, YouTube comments. Shouldn't look at YouTube comments right now. I'll do that afterwards. Let's see. Content. Playlists. I will... create new playlist. Unreal C++ course. And I will go in here and just search for C++, and I think that should just come up with all of the videos in the entire course, which I'll simply select all of them real quick. I can't guarantee that everything is in the proper order right away. That I will have to check later because that requires a little bit more focus, but I'm adding them in upload order, I think, so that should be fine. And then we have this weekend, or next weekend actually, I think, the full course, everything stitched together, an entire 4-hour video will also go up. But for now, I've just added a playlist to the channel with all of the C++ contents in it. Okay, so going back here, the reason that I wanted to maintain that other function as well is I think on this one I have, yeah, you see, I have a function for turning the left and the right box on and off individually, and I do kind of need that. So now that that works again, I think we should be good to go. How much do I... Not enough. I'll tell you that for free. Like me personally, nothing, because I haven't released any game yet. Like I make some things, like some money off of like ads that run on the videos here, but like that's more of a like making YouTube money, not game dev money. And I do know, I don't know exact figures, but I do know that generally speaking, game developers are pretty underpaid from like a software engineering perspective. Like programmers are pretty well paid people generally. Programming for video games is comparatively not as well paid from what I understand, because everybody wants to program for video games because it's awesome. Nobody wants to like program whatever multinational billion-dollar company's boring database. Everybody wants to make awesome stuff. And because everybody wants it, you make less money. It's just supply and demand, but with labor. That said, as a indie, of course that can be very different. Like you can make absolutely literally nothing even after releasing, which a lot of people find out the hard way. Or you can make literal millions and you can become a billionaire by selling off to Microsoft from making a game that's literally just blocks. That can also happen. Like, it's happened once, so theoretically possible, right? But I do think that the damage box situation is now fixed. So I really should put down a save point in the other place. But I'm just going to rely on the fact that it's fixed now. And we'll... Actually, no. I'm going to add in the revenge system first, and then we'll see about the boss fight later. Yeah, I was referring to Minecraft, indeed. I mean, that was initially started as just like one dude programming in Java, which is fucking insane, and making a block-based game, and now it is the literal best-selling game of all time. Selling it off to Microsoft for what was it? I think it was 4 billion, right? Was it 3 billion? Anyway, it was a number with a B in the amount, which is fucking insane. So there's quite a wide range between 0 and however many billions Notch got for making Minecraft, or selling Minecraft rather. And that is after earning tens, if not hundreds of millions of the sales of the game to begin with, before he sold off the rights to it. So he do be a rich dude. $2.5 billion. I was thinking of Star Wars. Star Wars was $4 billion to Disney. Still, $2.5 billion is more money than anybody knows what to do with ever. Okay, let's add back in the revenge system here. And the way we're gonna do that is in the sword attack. If we wait for this damage event, at some point here we cast to the enemy, and we can get revenge. The revenge value is not exposed, it seems like. So let's go into the enemy class. Is it a ground-based enemy? It is. No, it's actually not. What? It should be on the enemy class, actually. Where is it? Did I remove it? I might have removed it. It looks like I did. Okay. Sure. Let's add it back in then. U property. Blueprint read write. And I don't need this to be added anywhere, I don't think. But that also means that I have... This is real weird. I must have deleted it at some point, it's fine. Revenge counter. You could get a lot of fucking cheese with $2.5 billion. Like, you could eat cheese for the rest of your life of that money. Just think about that. Because your life would be really short if you only ate cheese. So frankly, you could probably eat cheese for the rest of your life of like a couple thousand as well. If we're being real honest here. And then we'll make a blueprint. This will just be a edit defaults only, and this will be a... Actually, this can be an integer. This does not need to be a float. What the fuck am I on about? Revenge count max, sure. No, not 3. We just want it to be just like that. Thank you. Yeah, Notch kind of went fucking bananas on Twitter at some point and got like mega cancelled, right? I don't even know anymore what it was about. All I remember is like, wasn't he like just being racist or something? I don't even remember, honestly. I don't really care. Get revenge counter and increment that son of a bitch. And then we'll how will we do this? So yeah, that does happen sometimes. When you're using live coding, it's kind of annoying. But we'll be fine. Just recompile and relaunch. Luckily, I'm launching this shit over a fast SSD, so it'll be fine. Possible side effects of selling a cube game. Racism. Misspelled racism, even. But does Notch drink a lot? Or is that just, like... To be fair, chronic spending is probably a good thing when you have literally $2.5 billion sitting in the bank. Because it's better for money to circulate than for it to sit in a bank account. So that I can't actually blame him for at some point. He did at some point. Well, everybody drinks a little bit at some point. The question is like, is it a chronic habit which is problematic? Which it probably is, because otherwise you wouldn't get races on Twitter, most likely. So that is very, 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 very fair. Then again, why aren't you opening the assets? Unreal. Work with me here. Please. Okay, it's just being a little bit slow. But to be fair, right? If you have like $3 billion or something in the bank, because you had $2.5 billion, but you also had you were already like a multi-millionaire by the time you sold it. Would you really care about what Twitter thinks about you? Because I wouldn't. If I have that much money, everybody can go fuck themselves. Literally wouldn't give a damn about anything. Why is my PC being a slow son of a bitch? Yeah, no idea. It's just... Okay, it works again. Get revenge counter. We increment that bitch. And then I suppose we just check whether or not this is greater than or equal to the... Why is that other one not in there? I need to make a little bit more room in my blueprint graph, I noticed. But seriously though, why is our blueprint read-only? This should be set as well. That is my bad. It's okay to be white. Oh my god, that is... Okay, now that is actually like... I understand why he got like mega cancelled for saying that. That is insane. Like, even just saying it's okay to be white, like, just because you're white doesn't mean you're a racist piece of shit, right? that I would understand. That is still often something that is said by racist people, but it's also like there is a real issue with people just projecting racism onto all white people, and definitely that issue is smaller than the actual issue people of color face. But if you just stop the sentence there at the first half, I could understand it. I still would think it's a bit in poor taste, but I could understand it. But saying it's okay to be white, it's the new being black is fucking insane. Why would you tweet that? Whatever would make you think that would be a good idea? That is just the worst idea ever. Okay, so then what we do as well is we give this a... this can be protected. U property edit. Let's set this edit defaults only. Category can be combat as well. And we make that a T subclass off. That's not what I wanted to do, but it's close enough because I want a U game play ability. You're not gonna, okay, sure. Revenge ability. Maybe I should work this into the behavior tree, actually. Does that make sense? That might make more sense, doing it in the behavior tree. We're going to do it this way for now. And then we'll see whether or not we change this to being part of the behavior tree eventually. Okay, yeah, no, it only gets worse. Okay, no, I suddenly, like, I wasn't, like, very strong one way or the other. It's gonna crash again, is it? Fuck! I wasn't very, like, strong one way or the other on about, like, the notch cancellation. I'm starting to be very pro his cancellation, I'm not gonna lie with you. He apologized at a later date. Well, yeah, okay, but like these kind of things don't just accidentally roll onto your timeline, right? Like second chances definitely are a thing, and you should give them to people. But also, you don't accidentally tweet all this racist shit. That's not something that happens by accident when you slip your fingers. This is very much problematic. And he even still stands by some of it. That even makes it fucking worse. Oh my god. Why do fucking famous people just... Well, not all of them. That's not fair. Of course it's only famous people getting cancelled because non-famous people don't have the followers to get cancelled. So that's not a fair assumption to make. And most, even famous people, are just like normal fucking people. With normal fucking brains. Oh, fantastic. Now this is fucked up again. Okay, let's get revenge. Counter. Did I fuck something up again in here? Oh, I just misspelled it as a revenge. Okay, sure. we just increment this. We check whether or not it is greater than or equal to our max. If it is not, we just move on with our lives. If it is, we get ability system components and we try activate ability. And the ability to activate will by class actually. Try activate ability by class. Oh! I might have a better idea. Well, we'll do it this way for now. We could also do it based on a tag. Because if I just tag those abilities as being revenge and I only give each one of them... Yeah, no, that's actually probably a better idea. I'm not going to do it that way for now though, but... Good things to keep in mind. Let's say that we can attack you like 5 times at most, so that's just under 2 combos. That makes a certain amount of sense to me. And then we have you, and for you we'll do like 7, so that's 2 combos, and then we have to wait a little bit. I don't know what kind of bigotry was removed there, but assuming it was racist bigotry, is he really insinuating the fact that only white people should vote? Because that is... I don't even know what to call that. You have a question. Okay, shoot your question. Let's get away from like the blockman's racism. It was a joke just about... Yeah, but that's the thing though, is... It was a joke is a very easy excuse to make when you're being a piece of shit and people call you out on it. So... That said, going back into somebody's tweets from before they were famous and like thinking about what they said publicly... It's also not a fair thing to do, because that does miss a lot of context. So... Let's make that revenge ability, which will probably... We're going to have to rework a couple of more things for that to work, I now realize. Let's see, we have the play basic attack animation. This effectively we can just copy over and make a revenge version out of. I'll do you one better, we can just make a chart of this, because it's literally only plain an animation. So we can just create chart blueprint class, gameplay ability, demon, revenge. And we'll put that in the basic demon folder here. So the question was about the racist blockman. Okay. Yeah, so that's it's just not a good word. Revenge attack. And then activation own tag, I believe it is. Tags are activated on owner when this ability is active. So that will be Status invincible. Abilities. Do we have a attack demon? Revenge. And it should cancel very good question. What should it cancel? I have a gameplay ability here somewhere for the knockback. I should really like just spend an hour at some point. I think it's this one. Seems the wrong way around. No, it's definitely this one. Okay, so this one is damage dot knockback, so it should cancel those abilities. Damage, knockback. And can I like add more? I think I can, right? So it should also just cancel all the other attacking abilities. I mean, do Americans have something like religion? Americans are very well known for having religion. Yes. A lot of Americans are very hardcore Christian. And that's a thing that you can have opinions on. And that's what I will leave it at. Okay, so now let's see in the gameplay effects, enemy damage, we want to block ability tags, target tags requirement for gameplay effect components. That's what I need, I think. And we need to check it must not have the invincible tag. Then I want to go in here and do the revenge tag and remove this and remove that. So yeah, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you probably shouldn't start studying C++ now. You probably should go to bed. There's some more people who probably should be going to bed, but hey, I'm nobody to judge. Yeah, do Australians eat spiders? That's a very good question. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not granting that ability. Let's go to begin play and say get ability system components. We want to give ability. That's start. And then we actually need to set that ability as well. I also forgot about that. So there's a lot of reasons that didn't work. So let's check our revenge ability, which will be our gameplay ability, Demon Revenge. Okay, now, will we get absolutely fucked by that revenge ability is la question. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It did attack me. Oh, okay, that ability should also set the attacking tag. For some reason it only set it after being attacked a fair few times though, so I'm going to need to check that in a moment as well. But we want to set the like attack Demon Revenge. I think we're going to change this into a behavior tree related thing. I think that makes more sense. But I'll check in a moment. First though, let's go through here, and every time we increment this counter, well actually no, that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. We'll do it anyway. Print string. Things are getting a little crowded in here. I'm going to need to clean up this entire blueprint significantly at some point. I don't really think anything about Indians. They are people that exist. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It seems to work. Okay. And it doesn't reset. Probably should reset it as well. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense to put all that logic in this attack thing. I don't think. This should be split up into something else, somewhere else. I haven't decided, or I don't really have a good idea as to where I should put it. So at the moment it's just going to live in this blueprint. And that's fine. But this blueprint is for applying an attack. It's still related to the attack, but it should probably still be on somewhere else. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got out of the way. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get the fuck out of the way. The normal attack overrides that, so it should, but it shouldn't. There's no reason that it, There's no reason that it should. I should also try to attack you while you're doing your revenge attack, because I definitely can. And I shouldn't be able to. Okay, I can't damage you, but you still do take knockback. That's a different issue. Ability is blocked if the actor or component has any of these tags. So that is what we want on the knockback here. We don't want knockback if my guy is invincible. I've never done the birthday Florida man thing. That could be interesting. That could be fun. Yeah, Florida people are kind of insane, but as being a European, that's just kind of how we see Americans in general, so it's not that big a deal to us, because Americans are generally fucking insane. Okay, it still does that. Why does it still do that? Oh, it's target. It must be source. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not British, no. I was considering there for a split second doing a British accent. Like a very bad British accent, just to like, for laughs, right? But I figured, yeah, maybe don't do that. Okay. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I think the revenge thing should be in the behavior tree. This is not working out too well for me. Which does mean that I have to implement it on a case-by-case basis for each behavior tree, but that's kind of fine. But that does lead me to think what I should do about that, because that means that whatever we put in here all together, I'm going to remove this, I'm going to remove that, I'm going to remove that, and all this. And instead we will make a function on the enemy to increase the revenge counter on the AI Blackboard. That makes the most sense to me. Let's do that. Void increase revenge counter. Might as well give this an integer parameter just in case at any point I want to pass in something like adding 2 or 3 at once. It's a very good point. We no longer need the No, we can do that. That's fine. I was thinking, how do we deal with passing in? This is entirely the wrong class. What the fuck am I doing? What? That shouldn't be on here. This is the class that I use for bosses. That's not what I... no. Should be on the enemy class. So let's put that in here. And we can remove... This is what I was thinking about. We can remove the revenge counter and the revenge counter max, because that's all going to be dealt with through the behavior tree now. People who aren't here right now but might want to check in all of the stuff that happened on the stream or whatever, can sometimes watch the stream back afterwards. I do note that maybe, I don't know that people watch the whole thing, but there do seem to be like a decent amount of views that still come in afterwards, like in a day or two after a stream is finished. Let's see, get controller. Actually, I think we have a Blackboard. Do we have that on the ground? I just should merge these two classes together. This is fucking stupid to do it this way. We don't need the revenge attack anymore either. We're gonna do that in a different way. Should get rid of that as well. I don't think we need this function either. Let's just do a little bit of cleanup as well while we're at it. Why not? I don't think we need this either, but that does show me that this is the Blackboard component that I'm looking for. So, I don't think we need any of this anymore, to be honest with you. Make the definition for this. That said, though, these coding streams seem to be very much less interesting to most people than the level design streams, which makes sense because it's just me looking at a wall of text for like 2 hours at a time and saying half-finished sentences. So entirely fair that people aren't too interested in that. Level design is a lot more sexy. Fair. Okay, Blackboard component. Get value as int. Let's just call that revenge counter. And then we integer counter plus equals amount. Again, love predictive text. Can you do an Indian accent? Not without getting cancelled, I can. Oh, did I? Oh my god, you're entirely right. I missed the Unreal Coding Live. I just copied over the settings from the previous streams and didn't change the title. I didn't notice. Thank you for pointing that out. Because I wasn't aware. So yeah, that should really be all there is to that, right? This is gonna cause some issues. Ground enemy base is an override of a function that's not overridable because we didn't remove that. I'm bad with like voices and accents and anything that even closely resembles acting to begin with, to be honest. I can code, I can model, I can animate, I can do a lot of things. Acting isn't one of them. Probably should remove it in the CPP file too. Okay, this is going to cause some Blueprint compiling errors in a moment here. because I just removed a function that was used in a few amount. Yeah, okay, that's fair. In quite a few blueprints. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? Protected, on attack finished. I knew it was going to cause some compiling errors. I'm sure that Australians are non-cancelable. It's maybe not as much about being white. I think, maybe. I don't know. Making fun of Americans is just something that the rest of the world does. So, night boss. We're going to replace this all anyway, so... but for now, let's just keep it at this and see... Unresolved external protected revenge thing in Grand Base. On revenge, we want to do revenge, but that does not exist anymore, so that is fine because we're doing all this a different way now. At least that's the idea. I mean, mocking Americans isn't cancelable. The only thing that it can get you is like a nuke on your head. If you mock the wrong Americans. Just like, don't mock orange-looking Americans when they happen to be the president. This is all I'm saying. Night boss teleport attack, okay. Let's just set actor hidden in game is fine. Set actor location is fine. Set actor hidden in game is fine. Set attack can go fuck itself. Well, that's the upside of Joe Biden, right? Is if you mock him, he'll be like all clear 2 minutes from now. It'll be fine. He won't remember it. Are American Indians? Well, by definition, no. What the fuck's going on here? Unresolved external symbol, public void, ground enemy base, set attack, bool, set attack, ground enemy base, reference and function, public static void, ground enemy base, exact set attack. Did I not remove it from the header file? Is that the issue? That is indeed the issue. Oh, Native Americans. Yeah, that is that is a kind of derogatory way to refer to Native Americans as Indians, because initially, as the story goes, anyway, and I don't have any reason to assume that it's something different. When Europeans ended up in America initially, they just kind of got lost and they thought they were in India, and they called them Indians as a result of that. and that just kind of stuck around. So calling them Native Americans Indians now is kind of alluding to like the fact that Europe kind of colonized the ever-living shit out of an entire continent where people were already living, which, I mean, I'm European, I can say this. That's kind of what European people do, is colonize shit, and it's not really cool. that at least nowadays we don't do it anymore. But back in the day, favorite pastime of most European countries, colonizing the world. Yeah, Australia is also definitely the exact same story, except there we didn't think that we were in India. There we very much knew that we were in Australia. I say we, I wasn't born yet, obviously. Revenge. We also remove that. Eventually we won't have any compiling errors anymore. At this point, I would very much prefer if we don't associate modern day Americans with Europeans anymore, because I don't want to associate with those kind of people. It's just as simple as that. Okay, recompiled. Great. Well, knowing some amount of history is quite important, to a certain extent, at least. It's the cliche thing of those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, la 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 la, which is a very annoying cliche, but also there's a good point to it. Oh my god, do I need to? No, I don't actually, because I just decided to move a lot of that logic out of the attacking class. Rather than... What the fuck? What the... Somebody care to explain what the fuck happened here? Because... What? Yes, I don't care about this or this at the moment. What I do care about is the fact that my ghosts are fucking huge. All of them. Why? Why? Still very, very big. They need to be this size. Why did changing that code change the size of these things? It makes no sense. I mean, sure, it's not that difficult to fix, but it's weird and slightly worrying. Yeah, the mobile market is absolutely humongous. Like, if you're in here to just make bank, just make a lot of money, make some mobile games. They're much cheaper and faster and easier to a certain extent. They need to be more optimized. But they're much faster and easier to produce for the most part, and they just make a lot more money. There's a lot of competition in that market as well, though. But the risk of, like, the development costs are lower, so the risk of any individual project is lower, and you can pump out more of them. So purely, like, from a profit perspective, you should be making mobile games and not console games or if PC games. PC games is the fucking worst thing you could do. Well, specifically, PC games that are exclusive to Mac. That would be the actual worst thing you can do because that would sell literally nothing. But nobody's idiotic enough to do actually like that, right? Fuck, I hope. Okay, somewhere in here we have a behavior tree asset, I think. There we have it. And here we make a new key, which we set to an integer, and we will call that. Somewhere in here we have a function to do with that, surely. Ground enemy base. What do we call it? Revenge counter with proper capitalization, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna copy it over to be sure. And then, what we will do is do ability, and that ability will be a attack demon revenge. But we will only do that when we have a Blackboard key value for the revenge counter that is equal to or greater than 5. And actually this needs to be a sequence. Well, it doesn't need to be a sequence actually, because we can yeah, we probably want to make this a sequence just for ease of use. What we'll do is we'll make a new task here. Blueprint based. Which will just be reset revenge key. Event execute AI. Revenge key, which will be a Blackboard key selector. We'll set a value as integer to 0, and that's just everything there is to it. And then we have, I think it's called finished. Finish execute. Success. There's nothing that can wrong with this task. Nobody plays games on Mac, that was my point. People who have too much money and people who don't do research, which it's not people who have too much money and don't do research, but it's a lot of people are like, yeah, but Mac is good for like graphic design, and then you ask them, okay, but why? And then they don't have a fucking answer. A lot of software like Premiere Pro, Photoshop and stuff like that does seem to be more stable on Mac though. I'll give it that. So that is somewhat of a reason to use Mac, but it's a pretty poor reason in my opinion. Reset revenge key, which will be needs to be a exposed variable. And that should now work a lot better. Okay, now we need to go through all of these fucking things because they all use functions that no longer exist. We don't need this anymore. Can we compile now? No. Don't need that anymore. Can we compile now? Is that the reason? Yeah, that is the reason. Okay. I think I set it to 10 before. 15? 13. 13 it is. I guess we'll check what the next one is. Animation Blueprint Shaman. I'll just open them all. Like, at once we're making a lot of progress here, and also a lot of... Okay, so this is actually... We do need to change things around here again. This is simply... Did I not make that a U function? Oh no, it needs to be cast to ground enemy base instead. We'll just do it this way. This is fine. Again, I'll clean this up later. Increase revenge counter by 1. Discord API has been attacked? Well, that's not great. How much time do you think it takes to port PC games to mobile? That depends highly on the game. And for the most part, I'd say... Like, if you make a game specifically for PC first, there's a good chance that porting it to mobile is not going to work that well. If you want to release on both platforms, develop for mobile, then port to PC. That seems a lot more reasonable. I don't know what this branch is doing anymore at this point, so let's just get rid of it. And now I'll get rid of a whole bunch of nodes in these events graph over here, because we don't need this anymore, we don't need this anymore, which also just cleans up these event graphs a bit, which is great. Don't need that, don't need that. Probably have more errors here. There we go, don't need that. More errors? No, that's it. This is actually quite quick. I didn't expect it to be this quick to remove these things. Really, only 2 functions here? Only 2 functions. I like that. More of that, please. And then we have, well, this fucking thing. We're not going to get to the boss fight AI today, I don't think. Yeah, no, there's a good reason to have a Mac. For instance, that is if you want to build for a Apple platform, which iOS is, I believe you're required to do it on a Mac for some reason, which is bullshit, but sure. The sun is... If the sun is up, you should not be. It's just that easy. If the sun is up, you should... Well... You should either be already awake or still asleep. Like you shouldn't be still awake. That's for damn sure. That's the size of that thing. And then this thing can go like 20. 20 is a bit much here. I don't know why it does this, by the way. Making them smaller through the animation blueprint. I just kind of deal with it and... it's not a big deal. Now the thing is, I need to add in that revenge thing. Also, I do need to actually give my basic demon the revenge ability in this array over here. So revenge ability. And now I should be able to run a game again. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for some reason there was a delay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is there a delay? Oh, I think I know. I think I have an idea as to why. It's not cancelling the other ability, I don't think. Cancel abilities with tag and knockback. Tags. Or attack and knockback, rather. I didn't realize I have a variable on my gameplay ability, gameplay tag to add to actor, but that already gets done through the system itself, so I don't really need to. I don't know what you're talking about with guns. Non-damage gameplay event, we do actually need to damage enemy to player. And then that's a very good question, what do we listen out for? Oh, here we have it. Damage gameplay tag for events. I'm just going to open up the other basic demon attack here and copy over. So that's attack.basic. Or rather, enemy damage basic. That's fine. Let's copy that over. And then check our blueprints here, because we have the knockback. Ability tag, damage.knockback. Revenge should cancel things with damage.knockback. So why doesn't it cancel? I'm going to block the chat real quick because I need to see what the behavior tree does while I'm playing. Okay, it's the proper enemy. 3, 4, now that's 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. it is because this thing, and I'll show you this actually, because I should show you some things, right? It is, let's see, notify observer, where is it? Observer abort, that's the one I'm looking for. I'm getting a little tired. Lower priority. It should stop doing whatever tasks are to the right of it whenever this one becomes true. So now the revenge attack should be instant. Which is rather the point of it. So let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. But that said, that looked good, but we still have this thing not allowing any behavior tree to run when we have the attack or the stunned status. But this should run regardless of that. So what we want to do is actually we want to do it like this. Oh my god, that's a lot of emoticons. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's test that out again. And again, let's open up the behavior tree on my second monitor here to see what is happening in real time. Which is too bad that I can't show you that very easily, but you just kind of have to deal with that for now. It's this enemy, right? Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instantly he does the attack. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instantly he does the attack. That's great. Now he only needs to, when he does that attack, also rotate towards the enemy, towards the player. But they should do that in general. So let's see where I put it. Demon Revenge. Play basic animation. Yeah, we'll fix this up a little later. What I want to do is I want to rotate find look at rotation, get actor location, we'll get player character, make value, no, that's not what I want to do. Make rotation from X. It's a bit clunky getting a rotator, making it into a vector, and then back into a rotator, but this is the easiest way to only limit the rotation to the Z-axis. And then move on. So now anytime anything attacks, it should automatically turn around to face me. Which in general is just a thing that it should do. Okay, it does rotate around. That's not what it should do. You know what? I just decided that what I just did is in fact not the easiest way to... Where did I put it? There we go. This is in fact not the easiest way to do this. The easiest way to do this is to just only hook up the yaw. Because the roll on the pitch should just be 0 always. There's no reason for the roll on the pitch of these things to change at all. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And let's attack it in the back. 4, 5. Okay, starting to look like something. It works for one enemy. Now, just implement that for the rest of them. Shouldn't be that big a deal. Because I can quite easily copy-paste things into other behavior trees as well. But it's, how long have I been live for? I think we're like coming up on 2 hours, right? Yeah, we're about 2 hours 16. So let's just forget about the Night Boss's AI. We'll do that maybe next time, maybe off screen. I don't know. Let's just real quick close down the things that we no longer need. Can close that down as well. This is the default sword. Don't need that anymore. Projectile, we don't need that anymore. Basic demon, we've got that fixed up. Play basic attack we don't need. Knockback we don't need. Player knockback we don't need. Enemy damage we don't need. What we do need is a couple of blueprints for enemies. So let's open up those. This one needs a revenge attack. The healing lantern actually doesn't need a revenge attack. The whole thing about that is that it is a helpless little fuck. Is that all the enemies I have? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. And now it is as easy as going into here, saying demon revenge attack, copy that over into the ghost folder, changing its name obviously to ghost revenge attack. Open that up here, and we'll change this to ghost revenge hit, and then the ability tag will change as well to ghost revenge. And the same for this one. You probably don't need a separate tag for every single enemy, by the way. I'm just putting that into place in case at some point I do want to do anything specific with that. That way I won't have to retrofit everything into a new system. This seems a little over the top and overkill. I am very much aware of that. And then we open up the blueprint for the ghost, or the behavior tree rather, and we just simply copy this over. Well, first actually we are using the same Blackboard, so we already have that. Okay, so we just simply copy this over, and we change this tag to Ghost Revenge. And this is kind of the point, right? If I just use normal, like just generalized tags, I could just say do revenge. I probably should do that actually, because that way these nodes work for everything, and I don't have to specify every single time I copy something over and I change something. Yeah, I just talked myself into changing that. I'm just really finishing up things now. Once I've got all these other nodes in place, I'm probably going to end it for tonight. So, welcome Firebolt. You're just like the last 10-15 minutes of the stream. But do feel free to just stick around and hang about a bit. That's still fine. Oh, and then the Ghost blueprint needs to have the Ghost Revenge ability as well. Yeah, sorry, it's a little unfortunate timing, but hey, if you want to, there's like 2 hours of stream archive that are going to go up in like half an hour. The rest of the stream that you missed. So that'll be fun to watch maybe. The Flying Golem. I don't know if the Flying Golem really needs a revenge attack, to be honest with you. I'm going to not include one for the time being, because these things are annoying little shits as it is. The Shaman... Frankly, I also don't think it needs a revenge attack right now. Maybe I will add one in the future. I've got a cool ID, because I can use that particle system that I made the other day, which I showed in the Discord. Wherever I put it. Let's see, the spiral. Like this one. I can use this one as like an AoE attack around the Shaman. Really suits his like aesthetic quite well. But that would then require me to do some other things that I don't feel like doing right now. So for the time being, we're not going to bother with that either. And that's partly because I'm rushing through. I know, yes, true. And that only leaves the spider for the time being. So we go into the spider. And the revenge ability for the spider is just going to be its shield ability, actually. So... we don't even need to make a separate ability for that. We just hook this up and we say do ability shield. So we copy over this tag, place that in there, and that should be it. Of course, we'll probably want to... Oh, this one actually does need to have a revenge counter added into it. And we'll set this one to like 10. And then for the ghost, we'll also... Wait, this one already had it? Maybe not. They can share a Blackboard though. They probably should. It's fine for now. Revenge counter is greater or equal to like 7, I think I said for the ghost. So let's try out the AI real quick and see if it works. If it doesn't work and it's a significant issue, I'm not going to fix it right now. I would be happy to answer questions. I currently am using blueprints to make my game. When I import animations for my character, the character just clips through the ground when walking. That very likely is just the animation. I'll try to... It's kind of hard to show, but I will try to... Like you have your hitbox, your capsule for the... Actually, I'll just do it with my player character. Because it probably looks closer to what you have. So you have this capsule, which is the collision. But if your animation or your mesh or whatever ends up going through like this, the collision is still done with this capsule, not with the actual mesh. So if your walking animation ends up with the feed, and if I change the perspective to like left here, you can see if the walking animation ends up with your feet being below this collision box, it's going to clip through the level. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, when you're making like the animations, you want to just imagine a floor where the character's feet start and never go through that, because that's going to end up with collisions. And if you're doing this in like Blender or something, it can actually be useful to just add in temporarily a plane under your character while you're animating to actually have that reference of, hey, this is where the floor is. So very likely that is what is causing that. Could be a million other things, obviously, as well, but most likely it's something like that. And I don't have any ghosts in this batch, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into this hallway because there is a ghost in here. Very, very nice. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and now you should. You don't. Why don't you? Attack Ghost Revenge. Ghost Revenge is attack Ghost Revenge. Does the Ghost Blueprint have that ability? I'm pretty sure I gave it, but we're gonna double check. I probably will. I fixed quite a few issues, and I do need to send over a build to somebody else who's going to also check on 2 machines whether or not the game still crashes. I don't think it will. I think I've fixed the crashing issue now. I said give me a day or two to fix the most glaring issues with like the combat, which is like the slow-mo thing that happened. So I probably will make a build and push it to itch after the stream. Yeah, you do have the revenge ability. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you doing it? Well, we're going to troubleshoot this real quick, and if I can see what the answer is, I'll fix it. And if I don't know what the answer is, I will not fix it. There's a pretty good chance that I just misspelled revenge counter, and it's not increasing because of that. Like, there's actually like a 32% chance that that is the case. Okay, yeah. Oh, the revenge counter, I set that to a float. That should be an integer. That is probably the issue. Which, now that I think about that, I probably should also go into the spider and change that into being... Oh, here it already is an integer. And there it is an integer as well. Okay, I only made that mistake once. Interesting that if you try to set a key as a integer when it is a float, it doesn't just set like the integer value into that float. It makes a certain amount of sense, but it would also make perfect sense if it did do that. So, okay, so now it's 1, 2, 3. Please come this way a little bit, because I don't want to go through the door accidentally. 4, 5. Oh, it's checking equal to 5. I can still interrupt it though, for some reason, which I shouldn't be able to. So that I'm not entirely sure about, but that is one of those issues that I just mentioned, which I'm not entirely sure about. I'm not going to fix it right now. So for now, this will do, and I'll try to figure out what in the world is making it so that I can't interrupt. I have one idea actually. I just need to check real quick on the yeah, on the sword attack base here. Because what we do is, okay, we wait for gameplay event, damage from player, and we set the custom time dilation, and then we apply the damage and the knockback. And the knockback gets applied to... that is the target. Okay, so it shouldn't do either of those, if I understand everything correctly. I'm assuming it's something fucking up with the knockback that's interrupting it. And that is, that might be because the knockback is cancelling abilities with... No, it's not even cancelling abilities with tag attack. It should, probably, but it isn't. Well, then I have no fucking clue and I'm not going to go after it right now. So... you probably want to, if your entire character doesn't fit within the capsule, you just need to either make the capsule bigger or the character smaller. The capsule itself has a height value that you can change and a radius value that you can change. Of course, you can also just play around with the scale of the character's mesh. But you do want to reasonably fit in the mesh within the capsule, because that is the way collision is handled. Also, hello Paragon Skyrim modder. I'm just about to end the stream, so very sorry about that. We did do quite a lot here though today. We fixed up quite a few issues that I wanted to fix up, and next time, hopefully I'll have figured out the entire like invincibility thing between streams, and next time we can finally get that boss AI fixed up. Because that is the last thing that I still need to implement to be back where I was a month ago. But better, because I'm using gas. So, thank you very much everybody for hanging out and joining in. And I'll be seeing you in the next stream. Probably next Monday again. Same time, same channel, same everything.